Trying to explain why you love a series is so hard. There's just so much you want to say and like why you love it, but it's always hard to get the right words out. There's just so much love that you don't even know where to start. And also, it can be a little cringe sometimes. Like, I could be glazing it too much and everyone's gonna be like, alright bro, take out your mouth when you're done. But right now for me, I think it's finally time for me to talk about this series, as not only do I love it, it's just a now perfect opportunity for me. Because this year, the Fairy Tail manga, the start of the whole franchise, turns 20 years old today. That is a horrifying thought to think about. Like, fuck, man, we're old. But similar to the My Hero ending video, which, yeah, I'll get a bit personal here. All right, little heads up. I think it's finally time for me to talk about why I love Fairy Tail.
Fairy, where you going? We'll gather the light along the way and make it shine upon a brand new day.
Back in middle school, it was an interesting time for me, like any of you, but for me at least, I was a pretty shy, anxious, and just emotional kid. As I grew older, I tried so hard to be cool and funny so people will actually like acknowledge me, and let me tell you, I regret that every single day. I was basically just making a fool out of myself to try to come out of my own shell for my own anxiety, but in reality, that just made it worse. And I grew to become even more anxious later down the line, because again, I was scared of making it even worse at that time. It was this constant like back and forth with my own emotions and my own problems. And I wasn't all doom and gloom. Like, I was picked on, yeah, a little bit, but I wasn't like bullied or beaten up all the time or anything, so that was nice. And I actually did have friends in my life and they were cool people, but they had way more active lives than me. Like, they were these cool athletes or really smart kids with bright futures. They would go out and have fun, do all these things, and I wasn't doing any of that. I wasn't really any of that. They didn't make me an outcast or anything. Like, no, they were nice and supportive, and I always appreciated those times growing up. But as a kid, I had this system with my mom where it's go to school, come home, and that's it. No leaving after hours to hang out with friends, none of that. Like, my mom was extremely protective of me growing up. So the idea of me being out with friends, even if she knew them, was out of the question. Like, I remember me and my uncle had to like literally beg her to let me walk home from school, which was like 2 blocks away, by the way. Like, I'm not joking, it was that crazy. Say if I want to go into the movies with friends or be at their house, like anything, we had to beg her to let me do these things. Now, this isn't a hit piece of my mom or anything. Like, no, I love her. And she did her best to raise me, her only child. And I have no resentment towards her at all. But I know being stuck at home all alone while she's at work and I just do nothing made my anxiety even worse. And I was kind of jealous of other kids that can do all that stuff so easily, just go out and play and do whatever. But there was a good thing that came out of it, and that was during middle school at this time, I got way more into anime than ever before. My mom had this like Blu-ray disc thing where she hooked up her Netflix and Hulu accounts where we watched Netflix shows on the TV. And this is where I found so many anime that I love to this very day. Inuyasha, Automatic Maid, Elfen Lied, Oh My God, it's Bleach, Eureka 7, My Bride is a Mermaid, Clannad, Rosario Vampire, Toradora, Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, Baka and Test, Hanagun, Excel World, Sword Art Online. Like, damn, I was eating good. Rewatched the season of Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Digimon, Naruto Part 1. I gave it a rewatch and I caught my Shippuden on Hulu so fast. Look, we'd be here all day if I talk about what I did on that Blu-ray disc thing, okay? Like, I was watching South Park and SML back then, okay, on the TV, all right? Life was peak back then. But the point is, all the anime I watched at that time, I still love to this very day. But there was one show on Netflix that stood out to me so much, and that was Fairy Tail. There's honestly no big reason to why I even watched it. Like, nobody recommended it to me or anything. I just saw a title and got curious, like, Fairy Tail? Like Disney? I just thought, what could that even mean? And by episode 1, seeing Natsu and Lucy heading off to the guild, I was hooked. Like, I didn't stop. I kept on watching it during this like weekend break I had. So I was just binging the anime throughout the entire weekend. I fell in love with it. What made me keep going was the characters, because they were just so much fun to watch. Natsu was just hilarious with his personality, and his like motion sickness gag was always fun. And then he started eating fucking fire, which I did not expect. Granny's whole like brotherly rivalry with Natsu was so fun. And then he got butt-ass naked like the very next scene, which made me laugh harder than you think. Lucy being like the straight man of the group and then going through like one of the best character arcs in the entire series. Like, I love Lucy, by the way, she's awesome. Urza being like the tough big sister of the group, but so serious that she becomes so social unaware of things, and it becomes hilarious. Like, she's one of my favorite characters and the best female character in all of anime, don't try me. Like, from the jump, all these characters and their personalities stood out so much that it made this first experience so much more enjoyable. And the actual story arcs, to put it simply, were fucking awesome. The first two of these jobs that Natsu would go on, and people call these arcs boring, but the cast is so good that I just enjoyed how goofy and fun these little adventures were at the time. Then arcs like Galuna Island first show off the world building this series can do, and even introduce one of the demons of Zareth, which becomes like a big factor in the story, which I was always curious about at the time. Phantom Lord showed a whole war between two guilds, and the moment Levi was crucified, I was like Minecraft, man. I was ready to go to war. I was ready to fight. And this led to some of the best fights in early Fairy Tail. Like Natsu vs. Gage is one of the coolest ones. Elfman vs. Soul gave more backstory into Elfman, like his whole trauma about Lizana. Gray vs. Juvia was just hilarious. Like, I forgot how funny Juvia is at times. Tower Heaven was just a bang for your buck kind of arc, you know? It did a great job showing off Jalal, one of the most iconic characters in the entire series, along with his very long love story with Urza, which is still going on to this very day. The tower system was so cool, interesting, and shows more of Fairy Tail's world building. And Natsu vs. Jalal is one of the best fights, I think, in all of Shonen for me, just for themes alone. Natsu fighting to prove Urza's life is worth living with the guild and not just something to be thrown away is some of the best storytelling in the series. And how the characters are determined in this arc to show her the same thing. It's just a beautiful, beautiful arc. Like, it makes sense why Tower Heaven is one of the best arcs in Fairy Tail and why one of the best arcs in Shonen to me. I don't care, I love it. Battle Fairy Tail was just a really solid arc. It had a fun, like, battle royale system that actually gave the other guild members more things to do. Natsu and Gacha became one of the best tag teams in the anime, leading to an awesome battle against Loxus with some great animation and one of the coolest ways to end a battle. It was just an amazing fight. And the end with the guild using their iconic hand sign, letting Loxus know that despite what he's done, they'll still always be there for him in the distance, leading to one of the best redemption arcs that I've ever seen. These were back-to-back amazing arcs, amazing moments. But as the show kept going, the main thing it did at first was using entire story arcs to establish certain characters. After around the Eisenwald arc, Fairy Tail started to explore each character in the main cast with a new story arc. Galuna Island is all about Gray with his backstory around his master Or that raised him, and Opha and Leon trying to seek revenge for her death. Phantom Lord not only introduces Gage and Juvia as some of the best characters, but as the arc goes on, it becomes Lucy's arc, revealing her backstory as a lonely rich girl whose father neglected her most of her life. But at the end of the arc, she stands up to him, showing that Fairy Tail is her new family and is now a true member. The Tower Heaven arc is all about Urza and her past working as a slave alongside Jalal, the love of her life, and 4 other friends. But then, you know, Jalal kind of lost his mind and became evil and tried to kill her, but that's not important. It shows why Urza is so guarded, like protective of everyone in her life, because the last time she showed weakness or wasn't there, her entire life was ruined. The Battle Fairy Tail arc is all about Loxus, who wants to take over as guildmaster to show that he's his own wizard, and to make the Fairy Tail guild stronger like when he was a kid. But this obsession grew to make him more violent and aggressive, forcing a war within the guild and getting expelled. I know I'm explaining the basic highlights, because trust me, there's a lot of other shit that happens in each of these arcs, but what I'm saying is Mashima took his time to explore each of these characters and their backstories within these arcs. And I was so excited for more. Except that ain't happen. So on Netflix, Fairy Tail only had like 50 episodes from the beginning to the Loxus arc. And at the time, I was mad confused, like, not too easy even close to finding Igneal and there's just nothing left? Like, what the heck? I deadass waited for like a week to see they added another season, but obviously that never happened. Apparently the reason why they didn't add more is because Funimation, the studio that does Fairy Tail, owns most of the streaming rights and decided to just keep the rest of it, which made me stressed because like, I didn't have Funimation, so I was just confused. So I just went online to see if I can watch it for free with so much hope, and it worked on a certain site that I will not mention, but let's just say that and a private browser saved my life. Because when I found this out, I was so happy. They even kept the classic Funimation intro and Natsu's whole, "Hey guys, ready for some more Fairy Tail?" Like, it was heaven. I was just binging through those episodes immediately and got even more hooked. I was watching the Restaurant Saints arc just complete in awe, seeing the 6 group of insane wizards beating the crap out of the main cast. And seeing other guilds get some screen time was so cool. And I just kept binging through these episodes and these arcs. This is when I truly became obsessed with Fairy Tail. Just knowing all of this, it made me a super fan. Every day at school, I'll think about how Natsu's gonna beat the dog shit out of Zero's boring ass, wondering what's gonna happen to Jalal and how Wendy knows him, how an entire just other world exists now, wondering how Tenro Island's gonna play out and just how the guild's gonna beat Grandma Hard. And then there's a time skip, which I was not expecting, and seeing how the guild can function in this new arc that's apparently like canon filler. But I still liked it, so I didn't care. Just every day, I was so hyped to go back home and just watch all these episodes. The characters got even better. I love seeing Natsu just do whatever dumbass funny thing comes up with, and with how he's always able to bring the guild together even during the toughest of times. And his past is getting more and more interesting. Tense but impressed every time Lucy gets into a fight and always improves. Then in tears when she had to say goodbye to her dad. Gray confronting his own demons as the show went on. Urza determined to keep the life her guild saved, while at the same time protecting the ones that she loves no matter how much it'll hurt. Gage and Loxus proving themselves as true members of the guild, Juvia finally having the family she's always wanted. Like, there's so much great things in these arcs. And although it starts to have more of a longer running story, there's still those character focused things in those arcs. Or actually I'll say it introduces Wendy and shows us her backstory and her connection to Jalal, kinda. Leading her to come out of her shell and join Fairy Tail. Edelus is kind of about Happy and Carla, honestly, showing their past and their connection to the Dragon Slayers. Tenor Island, despite all the craziness, is sort of Kana's arc. Her wanting to be an S-class wizard to show that she can be on the same level as her dad, Gildarts, and tell him the truth, him accepting her and loving her the way she is, which was beautiful. That's something else I like in Fairy Tail. The side character surprisingly has a lot to do. Well, okay, not everyone, like, who the fuck cares about Jet or Droy or Nab, but the most interesting side characters get the most screen time, even from other guilds like Lamia's Skill, Blue Pegasus, Crime Source Sierra, or Ration Seis. Like, they have so much more things to do that leads on, which is greatly appreciated. Just all these characters meant so much to me growing up, and all of this leads to the arc that peaked for me at the time, the Grand Magic Games. If you don't know, I love tournament arcs. It's legitimately one of the best tropes in anime. As a kid, I thought the peak of them would be like the Chunin exams in Naruto, but watching Grand Magic Games, I think it's up there. I'm not gonna go full depth into that because that's for another time, it's just mad long, but it nails everything in a tournament arc. Able to show off more members of the guild than just Team Natsu, like Elfman jumping in and getting Fairy Tail's first win. The different games and fights we get with the characters are just a lot of fun. The new characters were cool, like I love them, especially Sabretooth. Like Sting, Rogue, Minerva, Yukiko, Rufus were great additions to the cast. Adding more attention to the arc, showing more of the mystery of what's going on. I'm not recording that again. Yeah, they have amazing powers too. And some of the best designs in the series. Oh my god, they look so cool. Kagura's one of the most underrated characters, showing what Ursula could have been if she stayed closed off with no control and obsessed with revenge. Natsu and Gaja versus Sting and Rogue is still probably the best fight in Fairy Tail. Like, it's just incredible. But during this arc, the first anime with 175 episodes ended, and then a new season premiered, Fairy Tail 2014. This is when I fully caught up to Fairy Tail and was watching it weekly, in the dub. And I was just in awe of how amazing the season was. First of all, the art and the animation was a massive step up from season 1. It just looked so much more pretty. The art style was more clean. I love the different shading and the colors they used for it. And it was so much more faithful to Mashima's art style, which is, you know, kind of one of the best art styles in manga right now. The fight scenes were a lot cleaner. The magic looked so much cooler. They moved a lot more, showing off more attacks and how they can impact each other. And I'm not trying to put down the first season because I still love it. And it does have great scenes, but there are times where they kind of had to cut corners, which makes sense. This is like an almost 200 episode anime. It's just 2014 to me, it's not just the peak of the Fairy Tail anime, but I think out of all the anime adaptations for Mashima's work, it's the best one. And the biggest reason for this too is the Tataros arc. In every battle shown, there's that one arc, you know what it is, a massive war that changes the rest of the series and its themes forever. Usually they're the peak of those series, and the Tataros arc is exactly that. And not only that, it's my favorite arc in Fairy Tail. I think it's up there with some of the best like massive war arcs in anime, like the Pain Assault, Chimera Ant, Fake Katakura Town, Paranormal Liberation War. It's generally just a great arc. Like, I remember watching this weekly and was just so excited to see what happens next with these characters and how they're gonna stop the Tataros Guild, which is like this guild of evil demon wizards that use forbidden magic. And seeing each character struggle and gain new powers and learning more about the world and setting up future events, all this made me younger me go crazy. Seeing it happen in real time weekly was a different type of feeling. Just happy, curious, and stressed the entire time. It was awesome. Legit, a top 3 arc for me in all fiction, I don't care. I wish I could talk about it more, but a friend of mine isn't even on this season yet. Yeah, right there. He's so close, but he's just not there. He'd rather play League and Wuwa right now. So if you want to hear more about Tataros arc, yeah, you can. It's his fault. Blame him, everybody. It's him. It's all his fault. But what I can say is that 2014 ended on this bittersweet moment when Fairy Tail's ready to take on their final battle against Zeref, and it was fantastic. I will forever love this season. I know we talk about just all the stuff that happens in the story, but there's actually more to the Fairy Tail that I love, believe it or not. The music in this anime is one of the best soundtracks I've ever heard in my life. This fucking thing they play so much at every hype scene is great. The Dragon Slayer OSC that plays whenever Natsu just breathes. The Let's Party theme that just plays whenever the character's just chilling. This goofy ass song that plays whenever something funny happens. Not to mention that this one just sounds like a Sonic Unleashed track. You get the idea, the OST is great. They all have this fantasy style mixed with rock music. It's generally perfect for Fairy Tail. Not to mention the opening and ending themes, which I won't play because, you know, copyright. But all of them are bangers. They all my gym playlists. Like, these songs are amazing. My favorite openings are Believe in Myself, Snow Fairy, Masamune Chasing, F FT, Strike Back, the Tournament OP, and just so many more. And ending themes is Merry-Go-Round and BS1. Also, the show is just hilarious. I love the straight up just stupid sense of humor Mashima has. The jokes just always hit. Like Happy just trolling and teasing the other characters, that will always make me laugh. Panther Lily and Gazo just doing whatever dumbass thing they can think of, in all seriousness too, will never get old. And of course, the GOAT, the man himself, Ichiya, the funniest character of all time, and the most handsome character in all of fiction. There is nothing truly wrong with this character. He is perfection. Also, his guild hyping him up with different names is like one of the best running gags. I also love the English dub to the anime. I mean, I watch dubs a lot anyway, but the dub to Fairy Tail is just so special to me. Not only does it make the comedy funnier, but you can tell the voice actors had so much fun playing these roles, and you can tell they love these characters. A 10 out of 10 dub, one of the best ones. I know that part was sort of a side tangent, but I just want to talk about the music because it's brilliant, and also, I want to end things here with what makes this show so good to me. I mentioned before how pretty lonely I felt at times as a kid. And while yeah, there were people in my life, because of how sheltered I was growing up, it was hard to talk to them or do anything else. So to pass the time, all I had was media, TV, and like video games. And Fairy Tail was special to me because of the cast, the main guild themselves. These guys are a family. They have fought for each other, saved each other, be there for each other in any situation. And no matter how long or short their time was, they will always be there for each other, die for each other even. And to this day, Fairy Tail is one of my favorite casts ever, not just an anime. And this is gonna sound mad corny, but fuck it. And to me, as a kid that didn't have much to do, who didn't really fit in that well, the cast and their stories were enough to help me through those tough times. Fairy Tail captures a certain love and joy that I don't see in some other anime, and it'll always be so special to me. And I've grown so attached to it. I mean, look at this Fairy Tail Master Edition manga I got for like a graduation gift. This is still one of the coolest things I have ever owned. And this Natsu figure I got on a road trip, some of the 100 Requests manga, like I've been knee deep into the story, into this fan base for years, from start all the way to the finish. I didn't break up the final season that much because it was coming out when I was in high school, and I have thoughts on that season, so that's for another day. But what I will say is watching the final episode already had me emotional, but then Lucy's award ceremony started, and then the first opening started playing in the background. Everyone having fun and just hanging out as a family, and that's when I just started to cry, like tears in my eyes, so I was a wreck. Okay, it wasn't like freaking out or nothing, it wasn't like, no, Angel, don't blame yourself. Okay, like no, not like that, but tears were shed that day because this was something I loved watching since I was a kid, and now it's over, but I was still happy to be on this journey for all these years. Then I found out 100 Requests already started, so yeah, I felt stupid for that. And yeah, that's why I love Fairy Tail. Writing and making this video was so long and so difficult, but I think I finally said what I wanted to say about it in this whole video. And who knows, maybe I'll make more Fairy Tail videos, like how the power system is actually great, or how the female character clears your favorite female cast, or the foreshadowing actually being good, or debunking misinfo about the series, because there's a lot of that, how Natsu and Lucy are one of the best MCs in Shonen, or who's gonna win an oiled up twerk-off, Urza, Lucy, or Gray. Like, I'm just spitballing ideas here, but this franchise means so much to me that I'll definitely be there when the final chapter hits for 100 Requests. And to end this off, I just love Fairy Tail.